Hey guys, it's Kaitlin. Welcome back to my cozy corner of the internet. Today's video is going to be all about my passport bullet journal, and I'm going to be breaking down for you my bullet journal setup for 2024 in this passport bullet journal, which you see right here. So I'm going to go through all the details, how I have the actual traveler's notebook set up, the different books I'm using, and the overall system. And then I'm going to dive into the actual spreads that I set up when I created this journal for 2024. So make sure to grab a cozy drink. I have off camera a turmeric latte, which I'm drinking. So I hope you have something tasty to drink as well. Get cozy and let's just jump into the video. So first, let's dive into the actual system itself and the kind of cover and notebook system that I have going on. So this cover is a cover by Traveler's Company. This is a passport traveler's notebook, which means it's about 3.5 by 5.5 inches. And this specific cover is the black color in the Narita Airport design, which is a design that you can get from Narita Airport in Japan. Now, I have not been to Japan yet, but I did purchase this cover from a reseller, so I will include their links below. But I really like this cover. I wanted to purchase this cover specifically because I find that the black leather is a little more durable compared to Traveler's Company's other leathers. It's something that I feel really comfortable taking with me on the go, in the house, and it's just a really great companion to grab and move around with. And the great thing about the Traveler's notebook and passport size is I can easily hold my bullet journal in one hand and I can take my planner very easily on the go. This fits into my smallest of bags, which is my belt bag, so it's really nice how portable it is. So the cover itself is kind of the main thing you first see. I have a brass charm on the front as well, which is this like Japanese coin design. So the first thing that I have is this clear zipper folder by Traveler's Company. This just has a pocket on the outside, which I have a photo in, and then the other side has this zip pouch, which I'm keeping sticky notes in. After the zip folder, I have a craft folder, also by Traveler's Company, just surrounding the first of my two notebooks. This one just has a piece of paper in the back, which I just use as blotting paper when I'm writing in my journal. And then the first of my two book system for my bullet journal is housed on this first elastic. And then I'm keeping the second book just kind of floating around in the back. I don't put this on another string. Instead, what I do is I just take it out when I need it. And when I close up the notebook, I find that because my notebook has an elastic closure, when I close it, nothing falls out. So I'm good to go and books aren't going to be going anywhere. But when I do need to use this notebook, since I do use this one the most often, it's really easy to just grab, take out, and write in. Okay, so that was a good segue into the actual books that I'm using for my bullet journal. So as I quickly mentioned before, I have two books which I'm using for my bullet journal. So it is a 2-book system. The first book, which is on the main elastic, is what I'm referring to as my yearly book or my annual book. So this is the book that is meant to be lasting and staying in this journal for the entire year. This will house information that I need to reference often. So think collections that you would be writing in your bullet journal and then transferring time after time when you start a new book. This insert is saving me all that time. So instead, if there's a collection I know that I really need and I'm gonna need it for most of the year, I can just put it in here and then I don't have to recreate it. The second book, which is just hanging out in the back loose, is what is referred to as my quarterly book. So this is the book where I will do kind of more of my daily journaling in. So I will do my monthly planning, weekly planning, and daily planning in here. And as I finish this book, I will just swap it out for another one and continue into the rest of the year. So I will flip through these books so you can see exactly the different spreads I keep in each, but that's just a high-level overview of the two books and how they are different. And in case you're curious as well, the books I am using are by the brand Good Ink Pressions. She is a wonderful, wonderful Etsy seller, and I will include the specific details for my books in the description box. So now let me take you through both my books and show you the spreads I've set up in each. First, starting with my annual book, I have a sticky note here which refuses to stay down. This is my 2024 intentions. I am not good about writing my intentions out on paper, so I find a sticky note is a bit more of a kind of gentle way for me to think about what I want to do in the year without actually writing it down on paper and like committing. So I have this here on the left, and this first page is blank because I'm just going to use this section as kind of a general dashboard for any notes or sticky notes or things that I want to kind of stick on here and be aware of. Then, as we turn into the first collection, this is my future log. So the future log is a really important spread for essentially writing down all of your upcoming appointments, dates, events throughout the year. I have sectioned mine off into 4 pages, which you can see here. So I've done 1 page per quarter, and essentially what I've done is I have the section on the left, which is for the name of the event. I have a dash, and then I have the day the event is on. And then the right column is something called an Alistair method list, which essentially allows me to have each month of the quarter in 1 column. And what I do is I will make an X on the column under the month that that event occurs in. So an example of an event that I wrote down here is that my trip ended on January 8th. So you can see the 8 right beside the dash, beside the title of the event, trip ends, and then under the J or January column, I have an X which marks that it's in January. And I just find that this is a really efficient way to record future events without having specific sections for specific months. And then, I don't know about you, but some months I'm really busy and I have a lot of events that I need to keep track of, so I might run out of room. And then other months I don't have anything else going on. So the great thing about this kind of Alistair method future log is you're not taking up space for specific months. Instead, you can write down everything you need to write down and you don't have to worry about running out of room for your various events, dates, and appointments. I also have a tab here to mark off my future log, and this is by Midori. Right after my index, I have a page here, which is called my Future Plus. So this is essentially to capture any events that might be occurring outside of the year into like 2025. So I know for me, these are things like when I go to the dentist and they book me an appointment a year later, I usually write those things over here. And then the left page is my task list. So I also did this in an Alistair method format. Instead of the months, I used the numbers 1 through 4 to denote the 4 quarters of the year. And then I have a dot on the right, and this page is essentially going to capture any tasks that I need to do throughout the year. So I can either schedule them into one of the 4 quarters if I know I need to do them at a certain date, or I'll put it under that dot column if it doesn't fall under a specific time and it's just something that I can do whenever I have time to. And besides that, I haven't actually filled out any other spreads in my annual book. If you saw my bullet journal migration video, you might be wondering where all of the spreads went. Well, when I actually sat down to journal, I really took a moment to think critically about what spreads I really needed. And for me, I know that really all I need is my future log, a task list, and a place to record those far future events. So for now, I decided to just leave the other spreads that I didn't think were essential, and I can always add them back in later if I decide that I want to actually include them in my journal. So the next book is my quarterly book, and unlike my annual book, this is the book that I'm going to be swapping out of my journal every time I finish it, and it's probably going to end around once a quarter, which is why I've named it my quarterly book. So the first page here is just blank. I haven't decided what I'm going to use this for, but I'm thinking it actually might be something I might use for a kind of quarterly task list. So I might do a similar layout to my annual book where I have one column for each month of the quarter, and then I might just kind of use this section at the beginning of each quarter to brain dump all of the projects, tasks, and other things I want to do, just to kind of use this as a bit of a mental inventory to start off the book, but we'll see. I haven't really decided yet. And immediately after, we go into the monthly log. So this is the current monthly log layout that I am using. It took me a very, very, very long time to figure out the best layout for the passport size, because the journal is quite small, which limits you in the kinds of spreads and layouts that you can create. But I did settle on this one, which I've been really, really liking. So essentially it is a 2-page monthly calendar. On the left, if you look this way, I have a calendar of the month that I've drawn lengthwise on the page, so horizontally. And this has all the days of the month in January, since this is my January monthly calendar. And what I've done is I've used a marker to draw a small circle on the days that I have an event. And then what I do is on the right page, I will actually write the event itself. So if I turn this back and I take a look at my calendar, I can see that on the 20th, I have 2 dots here. So if I turn around to my page here, I can see on my calendar that I have 2 events on the 20th. I have a haircut at 12:20, and I'm going to meet a friend for brunch. So I prefer this layout over the traditional monthly log from the bullet journal because, firstly, the passport bullet journal is so small that you can't fit 31 days vertically on a page, but also I like this because if I have multiple events on one day, it's very easy for my calendar to still capture that information, and I'm not trying to like squeeze a bunch of stuff into a small space and then be like not able to write something down because I don't have the room for it. So that is why I really like this layout. It's also really easy to make, and I like how I can really easily see how busy I am during the month and what weeks are a little more busy versus others. The next 2 pages of my monthly log are my task list and my hobby tracker. So my task list, again, uses the Alistair method. I think almost every spread I make has the Alistair method because I love it so much, and it's very space efficient. But my task list here is just for my monthly task list. I have an Alistair method list here with the numbers 1 through 4 to symbolize the 4 weeks of the month, and then the dot for any miscellaneous tasks that don't fall on a specific day. So I will kind of plan out tasks and schedule them here. Also, this is a really helpful spread for tasks that I might need to do every single week, like doing my laundry. Instead of rewriting it 4 times, I can just write laundry once and then put 4 dots, 1 under each week, so that I know I have to do it every week. So yeah, that is how I use my task list. And then my hobbies tracker on the right is a bit of a newer spread for me. I've been using this to essentially track the different things I'm reading, watching, and playing. And how this works is I will mark underneath each week, just like my task list. I have weeks 1 through 4, which weeks I've been reading that book or watching that TV show. And then the dot symbolizes if I've finished the book or finished the season of TV. So I can see when in the month I've read something, and then if I actually finished the book that month as well, which I think is really helpful to just kind of track the different pieces of media that I'm consuming. So that is how the hobbies tracker works, and that is the final and third spread that I have in my kind of monthly setup. So I have the monthly calendar here, I have the task list, and then the hobbies tracker. And then immediately after that, I go into my weeklies. My weeklies also are an Alistair method style spread. So I have the letters Monday through Friday, and then W for weekend in this column here. And then I have a dot. And essentially, just like my task list, this allows me to schedule my tasks in advance. I also use this spread as a habit tracker. So what I will do is I will write my habits at the top every week. Right now for me, that has been my move ring being closed on my Apple Watch, working out, and journaling. Although I think I'm gonna add reading in soon because I'd like to keep track of that. And what I do is I will mark under each day of the week when I do that thing. And then because my weekend is one column, Saturday and Sunday fall under the W for weekend, what I do is I use the weekend, the W, as kind of my Saturday tracker day, and then I use the dot as my Sunday tracker day. So that's how I manage to track things on the 7-day week while still having that section for miscellaneous tasks for my task list. And then besides the weekly log, the rest of the journal is blank because this is just going to be filled with my daily logs, any collections that I need to make. That's bullet journal talk for any kind of notes that you need to make. And as I fill up this book, I'll just switch it out for another one. And I think the last thing to mention here is I do have this tab. This is just so I can mark the current page that I am on, which is usually my current daily log. And that is a very brief overview of my bullet journal system and setup for 2024. I think it was pretty high level and pretty fast, so let me know if you have any questions below and I'd be happy to answer them. And let me know what you're going to be using in 2024 for your planner this year. I'd be very curious to know. Besides that, thank you so much for watching. I hope you're all doing well, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye, everyone.